So again, I guess a typical illustration of what this might look like, and you've all seen things like this before, is the player at the centre of this process, and you've got the members of the team around that player operating together, communicating freely, and then delivering message and outcome and impact to player. And that gives you obviously a list of some of the people that you'd expect to work with, again, all of which we'll know. And I think I put this up as almost the ultimate example of a team approach. Now, there's unbelievably defined and constrained roles here, and we need to remember that, but every member of this team, be it 12 to 15 people, has got their own area of leadership, but they're working collaboratively, they're working seamlessly together in unison in the most effective and efficient way possible to support, in this case, the car and the athlete. Another simple analogy is you're taking a player from base camp to the top of Everest, which again, for some of these guys, with some of the significant injuries that they have, it does feel a bit like this. And along the way, they need to lean on this support throughout to sort of ratchet them to the top of the mountain. The unfortunate thing, again, reflecting back over the last 10 years, or 15 years, I guess, which is a bit frightening, is that often you see something a bit more like this in professional sport, and it can be subtle or it can be very overt. But you might have the player in the middle of a bit of tug-of-war. And the classical scenario here, speaking as a medic, is you've got the medical staff at one end saying, no way, and the coach at the other saying, yeah, and the player's in the middle of that, which isn't a fantastic place to be. And if I had to kind of group together the reasons that these things occur, inevitably it comes down to the systems you have in place, and whether they're operating well, the agendas of the people involved in the conversations or the process, and then the egos involved. But I guess also it's worth considering over the last few years, again, partly due to just the sheer amount of money involved in some of these sports, that it's not uncommon for the player to be on one end of this tug-of-war as well, and their intention and I guess their desires playing a significant part in the direction which isn't necessarily in keeping with the best direction for them in that case. So we'll talk about this a bit more later, but I guess it's key point number one. Key point number two, and I've literally stolen this from Bill Knowles, who I'm sure we've all heard speak and is an incredible speaker in this domain. It's no longer acceptable for us to return our athletes to play. Now, when I started out, as I say, a number of years ago, as a medical practitioner, my role was to ensure they were safe and ready to return to play. And once done so, big tick, great job, Dan, thanks very much. But the reality is, in modern sport, certainly at the elite level, international level, that's not acceptable. And whilst there are grey areas here around one individual and their ability to contribute to a team at less than 100% versus another, which we all have to accept and we'll talk about later, I think the adage now is definitely to return people to form. And what that's going to do is align everyone's thinking. It's going to get people within the team thinking about a common goal, a common focus, which resonates with everyone, not just the medical staff, if you see what I mean. So, important point.